Number 8, driving the digital transition in cultural heritage, the role of competence centers in advancing European strategies. Professor Roberto Di Giulio from University of Ferrara is the moderator, and I kindly ask him to take the floor and guide us.
Can we please? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Antonio, for giving us the opportunity to have this panel to discuss about the aspect related to the topics that we already heard in the previous panel and also in the opening session yesterday, in the opening panel session yesterday, and to focus the discussion on some aspects of the digital transition that are related directly to the Constitution and the establishment of competence centers on technical and strategical aspect of the digital transition in Europe. The panel will be including a group of panelists that are directly related to the to two projects on competence centers and in general on the topics that are related to the digital transition. The panel include Fulgencio San Martin, that is the policy officer of the DG Connect and the policy officer of the project 3D 4CH, and has been the policy officer of the project 4CH in some years ago. Valentin Charles from Europeana Foundation. She's the Data Services Director of the Europeana Foundation. Francesco Taccetti from INFN, National Institute of Physics in Italy, that has been the project coordinator of the project 4CH. Marco Medici from University of Ferrara, that is the project coordinator of the 3D 4CH project for the Competence Center on 3D. Marco Rendina, that is the managing director of European Fashion Heritage Association, that is also involved in the 3D 4CH project and in the groups that are working in the field of European transition, the digital transition. And Sander Munster from University of Jena, that probably is not connected, but sent us video with his speech. And he is from Time Machine Organization. Then we will have Ms. Costantina Ciuntri from the Ministry of Culture and Sports that will be coming, and will close with Professor Moroblou the discussion with final consideration about the topics that will be discussed during the panel. So my idea is, as we are starting with a little delay, and we have to finish in 1 hour, my idea is to present shortly the topics that will be on the table of the discussion. And I will give the floor to the participant that, as you can see, mainly connected remotely, for a first round of answer and reflections. We will have a second round if there will be time for doing that, or we will open discussion with the audience after the panel. So may I check if the other participants are online?
Έχουμε online τον κύριο Φουλγέντσιο. Ο κύριος Φουλγέντσιο Σαν Μάρτιν είναι συνδεδεμένος.
Okay.
Okay.
I see. Okay. Thank you. I can see that they are all connected. So, can you go to the 3 slides? That is the slides named Di Giulio.
Τα 3 slide που λέει Di Giulio.
Okay, I can manage from here.
Πού είναι ο δείκτης? Α, είναι στο... It is at the podium.
Oh. So, as I said, thank you. The panel will discuss on the strategic role of the competence centers in the digital transition. Of course, we will talk about the general aspect related to the competence centers and specifically to the 2 competence centers that are focused on the digitalization of the cultural heritage, European cultural heritage. Generally, the main aspect of the competence center is that one related to the cooperation and exchange and sharing of knowledge between the European countries. And you can understand that the strong cooperation, in particular in the ICTs field, is absolutely urgent, especially in these days. The innovation and new technologies, as you have seen in the previous panel, but also in the other session yesterday, is going ahead very, very fast, and there are very interesting innovation in the field of digitalization, cultural heritage. But it's very, very important to share this knowledge, to cooperate in this innovation, and in particular to create the possibility of the creation and establishment of standards, common standards, and for the common accessibility, the exchange of data, and share of the next steps that we have to do in the field of digitalization of the cultural heritage in Europe. This is the first topic that I will put on the table and on the attention of the participants, of the panelists, and asking them to talk in general on the aspects related to the roles of the competence centers in Europe, especially and particularly the role of the competence center in the digital transition of cultural in the field of cultural heritage. The second aspect is more focused on 2 projects. The first one, the 4CH project that has been developed from 2020 to 2023, that established a competence center for the conservation of cultural heritage. As you can see, the definition, the field of activity of this competence center is quite large, is extended to all the aspects related to the knowledge, to the tools and technologies for the conservation of cultural heritage. This project has been closed in 2023. It established the governance, the structure, and the tools of the competence center, including not only the general aspect of how to manage and how to develop the competence center, but also developing some very important tools and infrastructure of the competence center, including a knowledge base, including a platform for the exchange of the data and digital sets of the European cultural heritage. And it's been tested in a collaboration with Europeana in the Twinit initiative last year. This is the second topic. This is the second question that I asked the panelists to discuss in their speeches. The third point, the third aspect is a strategical, let's say, aspect about the competence centers, and especially related to the two competence centers I was talking about, the 4CH and the 3D 4CH, that is the focus of the competence center on the 3D aspects. The first one, the 4CH project, was for the general and global, let's say, competence center. 3D 4CH, as we will we will be informed about that in detail from the PI of the project. The 3D 4CH is the specialization, let's say, of the 4CH competence center on the 3D aspects. It will be an online competence center, and there will be 4CH as an advisory board that includes a set of a very important person like Professor Moropoulou that talked about that said something about it yesterday. And there will be another technical advisory board in the 3D 4CH. This aspect will be complementary. The complementarity is very important, as it is very important for the continuation and the sustainability of both the competence center, the cooperation from the other countries. In the 4CH competence center, for example, we are working for the construction of the contact points in the other countries. And the action of the contact points will be absolutely important for the continuation of the experience developed in the 4CH project. So these are, as I was talking about, some aspects about how the third question, how to ensure the sustainability of the competence center, how to ensure how to organize the governance, the partnerships, and the long-term integration to give to the competence center the possibility to act, to continue its action, and to create a solid model and governance, including tools, technical organization, and everything is necessary to make possible the cooperation between competence center and the other infrastructure and networks that are going on, that are in progress in Europe and in these days, including the data space, including the European cloud, that will be probably analyzed and explained by the other panelists. So I will not take other time during the discussion, so I just limit my role to give the floor to the panelists, and I will give the floor now to Fulgencio San Martin to open the discussion and to start the sequence of speeches of the panelists.
Say who is he, please.
Sorry?
Who is Fulgencio?
Oh yes, I already said Fulgencio is the policy officer of the DG Connect, and as I said, is the project officer of the 3D 4CH project, and he has been the project officer of the 4CH project. Please, Fulgencio, the floor is yours.
Grazie mille. I will add that I am also the project officer of the data space, the Common European Data Space for Cultural Heritage. Thank you. I will go directly to the point because I know that the time is very short. So the strategic role of the competence centers is very clear. The Commission doesn't have the competence for anything related about culture. Culture is directly the competence and it makes sense of the member states. So as it is the defense or the health, culture shall be closer to citizens. It's not the same as, I don't know, economy or money or things like that that can be maintained at the core of the European Union. So the maximum that the Commission we can do is to really coordinate the efforts and standardization and put together some resources. That is exactly what we did in 2008 when we created the initiative that is nowadays called Europeana. Now, there was as I was saying, the best we can do at the Commission is to recommend to the member states, and that is exactly what we did in 2021, and before that in 2011. And the recommendation, the latest one from 2021, was clearly dedicated towards 3D and set some very high, very ambitious targets, because as there were some presentations right before, the risks that we are facing, they are coming into us, and they are not only of climate change. There is a war in the East that may come soon, and actually the prime ministers are gathering together to deal with that. I will not go into that, but clearly the recommendation stated very clearly that we should accelerate the 3D digitization of anything at risk, of anything most visited, and also anything that is under digitized, typically the intangible heritage. We also commissioned a study about 3D, and it clearly stated that it was a very complex matter. So with those together, that the recommendation targets are still far. There will be a publication very soon. Actually, it is just now in the process of being the layout. So it's really the graphic design process, because the content is already there. But clearly we are far behind the targets. So that was the reason to create the Competence Center. That is the strategic role of the Competence Center, to help the member states to reach, to understand, to digitize the 3D, with 3D, their cultural heritage. So we need the competence centers to improve skills, to build capacity building, to promotion the digital literacy at all levels, and to exchange knowledge. That is the main thing that we want the competence centers to do. Now, about the second question, how the new 3D 4CH project improves or builds on the 4CH, there is a clear difference. The 4CH was funded by Horizon Europe, actually by Horizon 2020, H2020, and it was all about research and innovation. The new 3D 4CH is not. The new 3D 4CH is funded by digital program, and that means that it must be all about deployment, all about helping directly the museums, helping directly the people who are struggling in the museums at the medium and even a small level, that usually they have a senior experts that often do not speak English and that are willing to digitize in 3D. That is the main difference, because there is no research, there should need no research, no development in the digital program, and that is the main difference between the two. So the 3D 4CH is far more practical than the previous one. It builds on top of the previous one, and if I can say so, they both are included into the Common European Data Space for Cultural Heritage that was created by the recommendation, as I said a moment ago. Now, in the first question, if I remember well, there was also a point about the synergies of the competence centers and the data space. As I just mentioned, both competence centers are grouped into the data space, and the synergies are also together. They evolve into below the same umbrella, but also we are talking about the small sector. It is big in terms of what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to do, but we are almost always the same people. We are very few people and we are always addressing each other. What I mean about this is that we should get the competence centers and the data space in general to get multilingual and to address those smaller museums in each member state, to address those senior experts who often do not speak English, but they do take the decisions of digitizing, what to digitize, etc. I would also like to say that we should reach to other sectors, education, gaming, tourism. Think of the value that the reuse by those sectors, the value that they generate by making that reuse. That is what I had thought about these two questions, and as I promised, I wanted to be short and to the point, so back to you, Roberto.
Thank you very much, Fulgencio. Yes, I think that I can assume, I can understand from your words that the complementarity between what we learned in 4CH project with what we have to deploy in a 3D 4CH is confirmed. And this is very important because what we have done in what we still have from the 4CH, including the structure, including the tools, including the advisory board, help in the discussion in the end of the project is not lost, and will be used and will be complementary to the activity of the 3D 4CH. So thank you very much. I give the floor to Valentin Charles from Europeana Foundation. Valentin, I know that you can manage your presentation directly sharing your screen. Are you online?
Hi, Roberto.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm online, so let me see what I can do. Find presentation.
In case of problem,
European.
yes, Valentin Charles is the Data Service Director from Europeana Foundation.
Can you see the slides? Can you just have confirmation you can see the slides?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to contribute to this panel. So bridging a bit from policy to action, as already mentioned by Fulgencio. So the data space for cultural heritage is an initiative that has a role in implementing the different policies that were mentioned by Fulgencio. So in terms of building competence, what is our role? The key role of the data space is, let's see, because it's really to democratize access to cultural heritage data. So that's a vast endeavor when it comes to building competencies, building capacities. What does it mean in this context? First, to give you a bit of broader context, because that might be confusing for this audience. Europeana was mentioned, the data space was mentioned. So I'm going to give you a quick tour so that you understand what I'm talking about. So for some of you, you might be familiar with the Europeana initiative. So Europeana started in the years 2000, and here the idea was really to allow cultural heritage institutions to share their data, to publish their data online, and allow European citizens to find and access this data. So this is where, in terms of capacity building, working on interoperability across the cultural heritage sector was very important, and this is where the efforts have been focused on. Then, as we progress a bit in time, the next stage of Europeana's life was to allow European citizens to use the data the way they wanted it and on the platform they wanted it. It was the time where in 2010, link data became quite prominent, and where many different platforms started to emerge. And the idea is that audiences wanted to be able to also use this data on their platform of choice. So this is where for Europeana, working on framework has become really important, working on how to improve the quality of the data, how to make a licensing condition very clear. So this was really a driver for the development of the different framework Europeana as in place now. New context, as also motivated by the policy context, we are now entering in the age of the data space. So Europeana, together with a consortium, is now responsible for stewarding the data space for cultural heritage. And here the idea is really to allow actors that have data to basically publish this data, and for actors that want to consume data to be able to use this data much more easily. So building competence is key to make this happening. In terms of the strategies moving forward, we think there are three aspects that are important when it comes to build competence for the sector, but also for audiences. First is about data. This is where data is core to the data space, and the idea is to continue to build capacity to be able to publish and share different type of data. So data about cultural heritage assets, but also maybe other type of data that are relevant in the context, such as statistical data, but also data that are thermal data in relation to specific assets, or sometimes geological data, especially for monuments and sites that are in regions where they are a bit at risk in terms of natural disaster, for example. So it starts with the data, and then you also have to develop tools. So not only developing the tools, but also make these tools visible so that institution can manipulate data more easily, but also for audiences that wants to reuse this data, they have a direct access to tools that are relevant to them. And lastly, to combine all this together, you need training. So training resources that really help audiences, whether they are cultural heritage professional, but also educators, teachers, to really understand what they can do with the data and how to use those tools to create the use case they want to fulfill. So in terms of data, we do have a lot of data already available. Europeana has reached now 16 million cultural heritage metadata published on the europeana.eu website. And what is important is that the amount of data available for reuse is also growing. And that is very much motivated by the policies. As mentioned by Fulgen, the recommendation 2021 to the member state is really going into this direction, making data of quality available and data that can be reused. In terms of building capacity, for example, using 3D as an example, it's also understand why we are doing this. And when it comes to 3D, the idea is really to understand what are the reuse use cases that can be built with 3D. And working on 3D is, for example, required to make all our framework evolve. So building standards and making frameworks evolve as new requirements are emerging is a key aspect of the work competence centers should do. We also need to build training. So we built the Europeana Academy that now provides access to several training. And lastly, lately, we have started to develop trainings focusing on 3D. And we hope that with the collaboration of the 3D Competence Center, we can continue to grow the offer in terms of training supporting capacity in 3D more particularly. So this is where synergies can happen in terms of developing curriculums for cultural heritage professionals, but also for other actors. Building capacity is also sometimes creating momentum. Last year, we worked on the TWINIT campaign, 3D for Europe, which was really a campaign working together with member states. And the focus was to build capacity around 3D. As Philgen said, the idea is that member states should have most of their heritage at risk being digitized in 3D, but there was a push needed, and campaign like TWINIT can be a way to accelerate sometimes development in some areas. And I think the role of Competence Center is really also to be relevant at specific times. So being flexible and creating those kind of momentum is important. So through the TWINIT campaign, we got participation from the 27 member states, and the idea was for every country to select one item to be digitized in 3D, and that was the opportunity to also address different questions around standards, tools that are available, repositories that are available for working with 3D, and really start building capacity around this topic. Events are also important. Events are a way to bring different communities together, like the one you have having today. It's about bringing different perspectives, and that is also essential to build capacities. And Competence Center have this role of bringing different groups together on topics. The European at 25 conference will happen in June this year, and I invite you all to come and join us to discuss more specifically the topic of preservation, protection, and reuse for the cultural heritage sector. And the networking aspect is also key to encourage cooperation. I think that was it for me. So it was a way to show you the different areas where cooperation is essential, and when a Competence Center can have a true impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentin. Thank you very much, Valentin. As I said, the partnership of Europeana in the construction establishment of the Competence Center is quite important, not only for the role that Europeana plays in the digital transition in Europe, but also for the work that they are doing in the construction. They are coordinating a big group of partners in the construction of the data space. And this is an important initiative that must be complementary. As I say, that there will be very important cooperation between the project on the competence centers with this activity, with the European cloud, with the study that has already done, like the study on the cloud, the study on the VJ report done in the last years, but also that the other sister projects. There are a lot of sister projects that will be contacted and will be complementary with the construction of the Competence Center. There are some projects, the ongoing project, but also very important projects already done, like Eureka 3D and EQUACE, that is an ongoing project, and many others. So thank you very much, Valentin. I give the floor to Francesco Taccetti. Francesco Taccetti is the coordinator of the CH sector in INFN, that is the National Institute of Physics in Italy. And he has been the project coordinator in project for CH, and INFN is also partner in 3D for CH. So I think that the opinion of Francesco about the transition and these two projects, and also the relationships with the other initiatives, is very, very interesting. So please, Francesco, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Roberto. Can you hear me? Roberto,
yes, yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
You're connected.
Okay, it's fine. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you all, and good morning. So I think that the Competence Center certainly plays a crucial role in the digital transition. And I think that on one hand, its effectiveness will be greater the more it will be able to involve local and private institutions. So I think that there is one of the main focus of the Competence Center is the strong interaction and synergy with the territories. And this is connected also to the last question, okay? So to the point of sustainability. On the other hand, I think that it's absolutely necessary for a Competence Center to form alliances with partners. I would say mainly European infrastructure, but not only, because we think also to the forecast provision. It's extremely important to have contacts with them. Infrastructure that can provide the data that make the 3D models usable not only for reconstruction phases, for example, but also for prediction phases of damages that the cultural heritage assets may suffer from natural or anthropic disaster. In addition, I think that the use of artificial intelligence can simplify aspects that the Competence Center should address now and in the future. And it's really must keep an eye on alliances also for AI. The Competence Center, at least in the idea that we proposed and studied during the 4CH project, must be an example of how the digitization of cultural heritage can be addressed by involving, when possible, European infrastructure, which are working on complementary activities. Obviously, data space, cloud, but not only, okay? So also, for example, people working on high-performance computing bubbles and so on and so forth. I think that surely a great effort will have to be made to systematize all the activities projects in progress now, but I believe that this can be done and that the Competence Center could play an important role for. About the question number 2, I think that the 3D 4CH project is definitely a pillar of the Competence Center, as already proposed during the 4CH project. 3D modeling is one of the fundamental parts, even if not the only one, for the construction of digital twins. Digital twins that, can be used for many purposes. For reactive digital twins, so again, predictive models. It can be used for storytelling, for training, for upskilling. So I think that 4CH 3D plays really a very important role in the context of the Competence Center. And I think that this project, 3D 4CH, deals with many fundamental aspects for the creation of Competence Center and for its future success. I believe, moreover, that 3D 4CH, in addition to supporting the standardization of 3D models, in addition to helping in the preservation of cultural heritage, can also be a stimulus for a dialogue among European digital infrastructure. And this is because I believe that 3D 4CH can interact with digital infrastructure for different aspects, for repos, web services, tools, data interoperability, high-performance computing, and so on. So I think that really 3D 4CH can play a crucial role, and it's one of the pillars of Competence Center. Last question, sustainability. Yes, okay. We have, during 4CH, we proposed a model for the general infrastructure and for sustainability in the future. And I think that the point is a simple one. The Competence Center is to show that it works at two European levels, but above all, national and local level. And the Competence Center must be felt close to local institutions, and this can help in the future sustainability. Thank you very much, and that's all, and I'm back again to Roberto.
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you very much. Yes, I think that the experience of 4CH and the continuation of 4CH's project is the test is the opportunity for testing how to make sustainable this experience, the new experience, and the other experience of other competence centers. So I now give the floor to Marco Medici from the University of Ferrara and from Inception Spinoff. Is one of the founder of Inception Spinoff and currently the CEO of Inception Spinoff. But Marco is the project coordinator of the project 3D 4CH. So we will hear directly from the PI how the project is starting, and as Marco with Inception, with me and with Francesco was also in the 4CH project. So the complementarity that we were talking about will be underlined also by Marco, I presume. Marco, you are online?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much, Roberto.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for hosting this great panel. So I would like to start from the first question, indeed, about the strategic role that a competence center can play. As Fulgenzio was anticipating, of course, that there is a kind of embedded aim into this to the 4CH competence center that is specifically trying to bridge a gap between the technological innovation in 3D and not only and cultural heritage institutions, in particular for small institutions, small museums that are actually struggling in adopt those technologies. So how we can do that? For sure, we need to facilitate the access to knowledge, methodologies, and as said, also to infrastructure and tools. It can be quite difficult, let's say, to trace a clear line between what it is 3D digitization, what is extended reality, what is AI. We have heard about that not only in this panel, but also in previous sessions. Most of the time, AI is coming to be part of our everyday processes. So most of the time, we may not need to, we may not even understand how important is the role that AI plays. And the 3D digitization is strictly connected to this concept of extended reality, because of course it helps us in using 3D resources in a digital world, but also in the physical one, trying to enriching the user experience in the digital world as well, in the real world as well. So, of course, it's not easy to try to orient ourselves in this new technological environment. So for that reason, for sure, we need to assist cultural heritage institutions in doing that. As Fulgenzio was saying, most of the time we see all the same people participating in this sector. So we need to figure out a way to enlarge this activity of building capacity. For sure, multilingual support is one of the main topic that we are tackling right now. What we are going to deliver, it is at least the support of 6 different languages including also Ukrainian language, in order to demonstrate that we do not need only to be, let's say, proactive only in the sense of adopting new technologies, but we also need to be flexible. Also, Valentin was saying that we need to be flexible in terms of creating momentum, for sure, for creating digital assets and try to exploit in the best ways possible new technologies and new tools, but also we need to be flexible in order to try to prioritize in different ways, and maybe in a different way as it was scheduled since the beginning our efforts. So this flexibility, I think it is super important as well. But let me also say that when we are looking at this importance of 3D technology, as Fulgencio was underlying, the 3D-4CH project will be a deployment project. So we are not going to develop anything new, but we are going to apply what already exists. But in doing that, in documenting standard procedures, documenting a standard workflow, or training using specific tools rather than others, we are making a choice. So one of the role of the Competence Center is also to ensure that the diversity of what has been developed in the past will be kept even for the future. It is important that we are working towards a kind of open environment in which we do not assign let's say one main role to one single tool, but we need to understand that there are specific tools for different purposes. And so one of the best way to understand how a 3D model or a 3D replica of a real object can be done is to understand which is the purpose of the digitization. And somehow I'm transitioning also to the second topic, so the complementarity between the 4CH project and the 3D-4CH. I mean, 4CH project, as also Francesco was mentioning, was a kind of project that acted, let's say, even at higher level, also conceptual level, in order to understand how a 3D, but not only a 3D, can be used. Francesco was indeed mentioning digital twins, and it is particularly important because it is not only 3D, it is not only data, metadata, and paradata, but we need also to understand how to perform simulation and so on and so forth. Fulgencio was recalling us that the cultural heritage sector should be tackled at national level, but on the technological side, of course, we can foster this also at European level. So even in this sense, I mean, 4CH, and I'm pretty sure about that, will succeed in creating national nodes, active national nodes, can be super helpful for the 3D-4CH project in the sense that we can, in that way, understand from national levels which are the needs of digitization, and for that reason, select the most effective technologies and orient the capacity building and the training in that direction. Of course, 3D, 4CH, and 4CH and the data space are not the only players in this sector. Once again, we are deploying, but there are also ongoing activities at research and innovation level, like, for instance, the development indeed of a European collaborative cloud for cult heritage, we already started to create synergy with this initiative, because from one side we do have a place in which data can be aggregated, can be accessed, can be reused, can be where people will be able to contribute to the creation of data. But on the other side, we do also need an infrastructure at national level, at European level, in order to understand how to make the most out of those data. So for that reason, the role of the Competence Center will be for sure to bridge this gap. And as I said, the technological innovations that we are assisting at are not only an improved capability of creating 3D, but it is really a more complex environment, and we need to help indeed cultural heritage institutions in order to adopt this new digital and comprehensive ecosystem that still is something growing and changing quite fastly. So I would say, in this sense, and once again recalling one of the topics that was mentioning, this flexibility, this capacity of adapting the selection of right technologies and tools for doing in that is of utmost importance. Last but not least, sustainability. Of course, we are.
I have to ask you to stay very short in sustainability, because we are very late. Thanks.
For the sustainability part, of course, it really depends on how we can demonstrate the added value of using 3D and digital technologies in this sense, because only if we demonstrate the usefulness of these new technologies, we can of course ask institutions to commit themselves to their use, and so for that reason making this investment sustainable itself. And done. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Marco. I see that we are running out of our time, so we have to. Surely we don't have a second round. I will give down the floor to Marco Rendina. He's the managing director of the European Fashion Heritage Association. He is partner in the project, in the 3D4CH project, and in other sister projects that are working in this field. But it's very important his experience in the Competence Center, because he will talk about a very interesting experience that can be used to learn something about the Competence Centers. Please, Marco.
Thank you, Roberto, and thank you for inviting me here. It's difficult to say something interesting after all these speeches that basically said a lot already. I wanted just to go through quickly what I think Competence Center are important about, and how they can play a strategic role in driving digital transition of European cultural heritage. I think they can do that across several key areas. Competence centers are instrumental in bridging the gap between rapidly evolving digital technologies and the resource-constrained sector, cultural heritage sector. This is probably the most important, or at least the most impactful thing. As been said already, they promote standardization and interoperability. One of the issue that the sector is facing is a fragmented digital landscape that hinders the development of a cohesive European digital cultural heritage ecosystem. And Competence Center can play a vital role in fostering standardization and interoperability. They can play also a role in understanding the actual need of CHIs of institutions like museum archives and libraries. They facilitate collaboration and networking. They create a platform, a forum for CHIs to connect, share knowledge, and collaboration on digital heritage initiatives. And this can foster a sense of community, which is and shared learning within the sector, which I think is quite relevant. Supporting capacity building, this also has been said. Competence Center empower cultural institutions to take greater ownership of their digital transformation processes. Competence Center can also act as a crucial intermediaries between CHIs and broader European initiative and digital infrastructures like the Common European Data Space for Cultural Heritage that we have seen before, thanks to Valentin, and also the European Collaborative Cloud for Cultural Heritage, facilitating integration with these infrastructures. And finally, again, last but not least, Competence Center can drive innovation in digital heritage technologies by fostering collaboration with technology providers, in particular SMEs, like Inception. Competence Center contribute to the adoption and deployment of innovative digital heritage technologies, including AI, 3D, and XR solutions. Like Fulgencio said before, it's not about the research really, but it's more about application of innovative technologies in the sector. So from this overview, it seems everything super interesting, super nice. I have been like 15 years ago into another competence center on audiovisual heritage, the Presto Center. I don't know if you have heard of it. It went on for, thanks to funding, to European funding, for 6 years, 8 years. And then when the funding stream was interrupted in like 1 year and a half, 2 years, just switch it off, basically. I'm saying that not because, of course, I think this is the end that the D4CH will do, hopefully not, but because I think this is a crucial aspect. And I think it's not a coincidence that only Marco briefly mentioned this issue and all the other presenters just skipped the sustainability thing, because I think this is quite a serious issue. And it's basically the elephant in the room, I think, because this kind of initiative is, if they are not designed to sustain themselves, are doomed to fail in the sense that, and their impact also will be on the long term very limited. So I don't have a magic solution for this. So I'm sorry if I'm not providing a solution from the experience. From the experience that we had, I think it's just important to, and I know that the D4CH is doing that, is implementing for the very beginning a sustainability plan, and also trying to differentiate eventual stream of funding. So European funding is always important, but we should rely also eventually on other kind of incomes, like selling consultancies or certification of training modules and things like that. Because if we don't think about this from the very beginning, any competence center, I think, will suffer the same fate of the Presto Center, basically. And I know I'm not finishing with a happy note, but that's it.
Thank you.
Good.
Yes, but I think that we have to see the reality. Probably we are going to face other limitations in the resources for cultural heritage. I don't want to go in another field, but we all know how the investments in Europe are going to. So this is the risk, and I think we have to learn from the past. I think we have to make strong the cooperation between, I repeat, between the existing experience, ongoing experience, past experiences. We have a very big knowledge to be used. Sustainability is another thing, is another challenge. The 3D Competence Center is online competence center that could be easier to maintain, to sustain, but also an online competence center requires and needs resources. So this is the very important aspect that we have to face. And cooperation, I repeat again, cooperation is the very important things to do. So in the list we had the contribution from Time Machine Organization from Southern Munster, from University of Jena. We decided to go ahead with the person in presence, and we will send the video after the end of the speeches and possible questions from the audience. But I think it was very important to hear the opinion also from Time Machine, that is another very important player in this field. So I give the floor to Konstantina Suntri, that is representative from the Ministry of Culture, Sports of the Hellenic Republic and General Directorate for Restoration, Museums and Technical Works.
The General Director is Dr. Androulidaki, and she is here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
May I have the...
Yes.
Yes.
Point.
Yes, the pointer. Thank you very much for your invitation, and of course I would like to thank not only the organizers but also our General Director, Ms. Androulidaki, that allowed me to be here today. So today we're going to share some of our experiences from the Ministry, the Hellenic Ministry of Culture. Okay. As you already know, in Greece, where cultural heritage spans thousands of years, the need to digitally document, protect, and promote our monuments have never been more urgent. Today, we're facing twin emergencies. First, the climate crisis. Wildfires, floods, rising humidity, and extreme weather are posing unprecedented threats to our monuments and landscapes. Second, societal crisis. Pandemics, economic pressures, over-tourism, and geopolitical instabilities are challenging our ability to ensure public access and safeguard cultural assets. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated digital adoption in our sector, but it also revealed critical weaknesses: fragmented and scattered data, insufficient integration of digital projects, and the deep-rooted hesitance to adopt new innovative methodologies. If we are serious about protecting our heritage to future generations, digital transition is not a luxury, it is an existential necessity. Our future resilience depends on acting decisively with collaboration, technology, and vision. Transitioning to digital heritage management is not easy, especially in a traditionally conservative public sector like ours. We face real obstacles: deep-rooted resistance to changing established workflows, lack of specialized digital skills inside heritage agencies, fragmented systems that often do not communicate with each other. This is where competence centers become essential. They bridge the walls of research, practice, and policy, enabling us to act with greater speed, precision, and scientific rigor. At the Ministry of Culture, we have built partnerships with universities, interdisciplinary labs, and technology hubs. Also, we have to develop integrated heritage management systems that all allow better decision-making at site, regional, and national levels. And most importantly, we need to invest in training, equipping architects, conservators, and site managers with the new digital competencies that they need for the future. In this context, competence centers are not just technical bodies, they are catalysts of innovation and guardians of cultural resilience. Over the past 5 years, the Hellenic Ministry of Culture has launched a wide range of innovative digital projects, many of which are reaching completion in the coming months. We're ensuring wider digital access to Greek heritage through our collaboration with Europeana and by expanding our e-ticketing systems and live cultural broadcasting services. We're modernizing critical information platforms such as the reconstruction of the Odysseus portal and developing new systems for museum licensing of cultural spaces and excavation documentation. Our data infrastructure is being enhanced with the full operation and upgrading of the archaeological cadastre and the establishment of national standards for digitization and 3D documentation. We're also investing in heritage and enrichment, digitizing antiquities, religious cultural assets, and artistic education programs. Finally, we're introducing immersive technologies, including AR and VR experiences for exhibition, and developing telemetry infrastructures for monitoring vulnerable sites in real time. These projects position Greece at the forefront of the European digital transition for cultural heritage. As we move forward, we must not only continue digitizing our heritage, but we must rethink how we protect it in a rapidly changing world. Technologies like building information modeling, IoT, offer powerful new tools to simulate maintenance cycles, monitor structural decay, and plan precise, sustainable interventions for our monuments. Artificial intelligence, either LLMs or deep learning, can enhance our ability to predict risk, automate documentation, and open up cultural heritage to new audiences through dynamic accessibility tools. But with new technologies come new responsibilities. We must ensure that digital reconstructions are ethically grounded, culturally sensitive, and the human judgment remains central to all decision making. The climate crisis demands immediate action. All future conservation strategies must be climate adaptive by design, with real-time monitoring and vulnerability assessment embedded into site management. Finally, we must empower the new generation, training young professionals to be fluent in both heritage traditions and digital innovation. The future of heritage preservation must be digital, ethical, and climate resilient. This is our mission, and this is our responsibility. I would like to conclude by transferring the message that digital transformation is no longer a choice. It's a necessity for the survival of our cultural heritage. The climate crisis, societal shifts, and emerging technologies demand that we act urgently, wisely, and collaboratively. Competence centers are our bridge to the future, connecting research, technology, and public policy, enabling innovation while safeguarding authenticity. Our heritage carries memory, identity, and hope, and it must remain alive for future generations. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank Roberto Di Giulio for bringing here 2 European projects and a PO from DG Connect to organize a European discussion and problematic about the future of digital heritage, which has to serve preservation of heritage in Europe. As we concluded yesterday from the first panel, and according to the proposal of the former Director General of the EU on Education, Culture and Multimedia, Dr. Spiros Papas, Europe today is facing a great challenge by reorganizing prioritizations towards defense. We, the people of culture and of science, have to organize our priorities within a European network in order to sustain our position our culture, and Europe. So this is the political condition within which we are talking. It's not easy going everything we are talking about. And how shall we address the challenge of innovation that digitization brings? Are we envisaging to introduce a new directorate in the ministries, in museums? What is our vision? New employees to organize nice digital tools according to how the European standards will organize through the 3D, 4CH, the things to flow on. I think that nobody here is having such a vision, and mostly not the ministry, employees and militants, because it was a very political and a very to the point presentation, the presentation of the Directorate General of the Ministry of Culture, Directorate General for Restoration. So what is the issue? I think there is an issue, and we have to point this issue out. The issue is that if we have learned some lessons from the rehabilitation of the Holy Edicule of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, from inception, brilliant European projects which made a step of progress in the European acts in science and technology. If we have learned something, this is that we should use the digital documentation as a core space for interdisciplinarity, to upload, merge, and fuse all the data from all disciplines, from history, archaeology, architecture, civil engineering, materials, chemical engineering, informatics, to use AI upon actual data in order to synthesize and to give answers, to use the multi-layered digital representations in order to give solutions, to organize solutions, to implement solutions. So what is missing? What is missing is this link, this connection from 4CH to the 3D 4CH. There has to be a connection, otherwise we will go on with very nice digital tools and standardizations, but we won't be able to use them at the layer of the requirements for an interdisciplinary usage data space. So we need to develop a space. We don't need to develop digitization. This is a resolved matter. We need to develop a space. And this space requires the participation of all. And the call of the panel one, the call of Spiros Papas for a network, becomes very specified in this case. I believe that there should be a network, a European network developed in the same way that we, with the project Eplogon, are going to organize a national network in Greece. We will organize the depository. We will work on BIM. We will develop skills on digitization, but that's not enough. What should be required is to bring together architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists to work and give the content, the thematic content, and the way that these contents will be articulated on a monumental strategy, on a city, on a site. This is what we need and what we don't have. So it's a very minor incidence to suggest that in the 3D 4CH it would be better to have a representative advisory board on another layer apart from the technical one, so as to give the input to this required function. The major is to organize a European network that will express the needed strategy. So that is the questions I pose and the call I'm presenting for this strategy, because Europe needs urgently a strategy which is not usual, business as usual. There is no time for business as usual anymore in the Trumpian period. We need to do something which is on the level of our culture and of our vision. I wouldn't say in our capacity, because our capacity is given, the will is required. Thank you very much.
I think we can give, just in 2 words, the advisory board of 4CH is still living. It's not closed.
Don't care about this. The function is...
Yeah, but the cooperation is quite important. So I totally agree on that. I don't know if we have some minutes for questions.
If Rocco Zarkins would like to add some.
Of course, you can make the question to all the participants of the...
No, I just wanted to add something what Tonia said now, just a short word. All what you said is necessity today, but we have already elements developed. We just have to put them together. So let's start. Data collection, resilience, and disaster prevention. And with all the tools which we are talking about today. And that is the story. Thank you.
I would suggest, if there is no any other... Professor Karidakis.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Great issues and points there. Two aspects, perhaps, for comments on that. Initially, bottom-up, involving, engaging stakeholders in competence centers is really crucial. Any ideas, approaches, current, ongoing work, etc. And top-down. SEDCE experts are here. Rehana, Fulgencio were here. Ecos was also present yesterday and is currently everywhere. So how would you involve and converge or, I don't know, fuse, influence the top layer towards these thoughts? Thank you.
Yes. I answer to the second question because the first one was for Antonio, I think. Yes, I totally agree about on your point of view. There is a stakeholder panel in the 3D 4CH project. There were a stakeholder group in the 4CH project, and as I said, there were and there is an advisory board established in the 4CH project and a technical advisory board in 3D 4CH. I think that we don't have to lose any potential activity of these bodies. Of course, the problem is, again, the resources that we have for giving an input, to support activities. But the other very important point is, as I said, the creation of the contact points in each country that has been started at the end of 4CH project. Is still ongoing. We are trying to, we have 3 or 4 at the moment, but we are working for the construction of the contact points that will be the network for the 4CH Competence Center, the big 4CH Competence Center. And this is also part of the commitment of the stakeholder panel that are currently involved in the 3D 4CH, but it's also the commitment of the advisory board of 4CH, because the advisory board for 4CH include a very representative person. Of course, I don't need to underline the presence of Antonia, but Rocco and other, Rocco Zarnic from Slovenia. But we have a panel of a very representative person in 4CH advisory board. As I said, it's still existing. We are the contacts, we are and we, with the 3D 4CH, we just started 1 month ago, but our idea is to take all the experience implemented in 4CH project, because we were part of the 4CH project, and one of part of resources of the 4CH project is also the advisory board at the contact points that we created. So, as I said, we need to cooperate in this direction, and absolutely agree about on your point of view.
May I add something?
Sorry?
May I add something to this?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I think when you were talking about bottom-up approach, so to be really bottom-up, one other thing that we have, apart of these stakeholder groups that are kind of designed by the project, we have a real bottom-up approach, because we have in the Competence Center involved several aggregators that are working with cultural institutions across Europe in different domains. So I just wanted to remind here, I know that I won't be very popular, but 3D is not just about monument and sites. I mean, I'm representing the fashion and textile sector. We need 3D, and we have completely different problems of the one that you have in archaeology or in architecture, and they have the same dignity of the others. So I think, and in the consortium we have us representing the fashion and textile sector. We have Carrara, which is archaeology and architecture. We have Michael Cultural Association, which is representing hundreds of museums across Europe. So we have even Sound and Vision, which is an audiovisual museum, which is exploiting a lot of AR and VR technologies. So I think that this grants also a connection with the actual institutions that needs help and needs upskilling in this. And I think this probably is the best way to have this kind of bottom-up approach.
Thank you. Just a suggestion, perhaps this engagement shouldn't be too aggregator specific or contact point specific, and be more like distributed, even for national level. Thank you.
And here is coming my invitation to you, since within Evlogon, the project we announced yesterday, we are going, first of all, to establish the national network, which we prepared 2 years ago. You remember, you were there at the Technical Chamber of Greece and at the advisory board meetings in Europe, in Brussels. But we will now conclude with that, and we will invite you there. And there we will discuss the second issue I posed here: how could we be a part comprising a competence center in Greece? How could be a part of this ideal 4CH, which will be capable to use digitization? We will discuss this as well with you in that direction, and you will be all invited. Thank you very much, all. Thank you. Please play the video. Να δείξουμε το βίντεο ενώ θα αλλάζουμε το πάνελ. Να βγει η φωτογραφία του πάνελ, please.
Minister, and I'm Secretary-elect of the Time Machine Organization, which is a European research organization based in Vienna in Austria. As Time Machine Organization, we have 650 institutional members, amongst them various academic members, but also heritage institutions and of course also commercial partners, so ranging from smaller companies up to larger players. It's our great pleasure to joining the 3D4CH Competence Center project and of course also to working together with the colleagues in order to setting up and implementing the Competence Center. And in that function and with regard to also a strategic relevance of the Competence Center, one important challenge and also realm is, of course, to dealing with the different requirements of communities dealing with 3D assets in Europe. In our work as Time Machine Organization, we are working very much with local and regional communities, dealing with digital technologies, but also specifically urban, architectural, but also genealogical data and endeavors. And of course, different purposes, dealing with history, with language, but also with intangible heritage and of course, creative industries. One of our findings there is, of course, that these communities are having very heterogeneous levels of support they are needing, ranging from very experienced institutions, persons, networks dealing with 3D technologies, up to, of course, those one who are needing very much support and competency in that field. In that field, we are seeing and hoping the role of the Competence Center in order to specifically connecting to these communities on a national, but also in a maybe smaller regional and sectoral level, and of course enabling a good use, reuse, but also awareness of 3D technologies. Another challenge related to that is, of course, to monitor the demands of a sector or the different sectors dealing with 3D and cultural heritage in Europe. And that is another important role we are seeing, of course, the Competence Center well equipped and in a wonderful position for to also uncover and revealing demands, but also chances and maybe also developments in these different smaller communities. Another point regarding the implementation, it is still interesting from our point of view that there are lots of untapped and not seen collections of 3D objects which are already extant in Europe. We have currently chance to collecting or to assessing collections of 3D objects at very large scale. And it's really interesting that many of these 3D assets, 3D objects, which are visible and shared and open in platforms like Sketchbook, for instance, are of European origin and created by European communities, institutions, but also companies. And one of the big challenges, but also the big chances of the Competence Centers, of course, to getting connected to these collections and open those up, of course, also for a European community and finally also aggregating those in Europeana as a European Cultural Heritage Library. That brings me to a last point, the challenges and opportunities. One important point will be to creating a good reach out to these very different, very small, but very heterogeneous communities. Of course, it is an endeavor and a challenge, not only to reaching communities on a national level, but also to getting into local and to regional communities, and of course to also having opportunities and mechanisms to avoiding, maybe I would say, too much to focusing on specific sectors or on specific player networks and so on. So to finding a good way to mitigating and managing these various communities related to 3D cultural heritage. Another point is, of course, how to dealing with the topic of competency development. And that is something where the Competence Center has a very unique and a great chance to also connecting to the various teaching opportunities which are already extant and available in Europe. We recently had a chance in a project to revealing and to uncovering the very different teaching opportunities in academic and study education, but not covered at this moment, also the postgraduate or even the school education related to that. And of course, there is a large heterogeneity of programs available, of competencies and competence niveaus related to these things.
Minister Sander.
One important.
Thanks a lot, and Roberto Di Giulio for the former panel.